Broads Media.
Hello. Phillies win another series. We are going to break this puppy down. Before we do, if you are new to the channel, welcome on in. We love to get very passionate here about Philly sports. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all your support. You can also take me on the road with you. You hear this voice? It's beautiful. And I can sit shotgun with you when you're driving to work. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all your podcasting platforms. Subscribe there. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. We're almost at 200 ratings over on Apple Podcast. It would go really far with the algorithm, so thank you so much. And lastly, if you want more Broads Media content, you can click down below. Join the memberships here on YouTube. $4.99 a month gives you access to our Discord channel where we communicate during games, and also you get live stream access every Monday and Thursday. Coffee with Broads, where we get the kickback. We have our coffee together Monday and Thursdays, 11 a.m. right here on YouTube. You're not going to want to miss it. Love you guys to death. Enjoy the show. All right, well, look, they did what they needed to do. They just came home from going out west. It was a disaster in San Fran. It was a disaster in Colorado. It was not a disaster in Citizens Bank Park, even though we're recording on a night where I had to stay up later because it's a Sunday night baseball game and it goes to extra innings. And I'm like, please, why is this taking 3+ hours? All right, normally my Sundays, they play at 1 o'clock. So when I do a series recap or whatever it is, I'm done by 5 o'clock, and I get to kick it, relax, watch sports at the end of my night, get a good night's sleep. So from that angle, I'm not very happy. It doesn't make me happy either that I have to watch Taijuan Walker leave pitches over the heart of the plate all night long. When guys are consistently plowing 100-mile-per-hour exit velocity cuts nonstop, including a home run that's 105 miles per hour off the bat, that's getting scorched. The Taijuan Walker experience is not working. I was okay with giving him a chance because, well, he's been around Major League Baseball for quite some time. He was signed here to a big deal for a reason. Dave Dombrowski is not a joke of a human being in regards to bringing people in. Now, he swung and missed on Taijuan Walker, but prior to seeing what this year was going to look like, I'm okay with giving him a chance. Now there's enough information to know that that splitter ain't split. It's over the heart of the plate nonstop. When the opponent is smashing 500 against a certain pitch, you don't have it. And I don't know if he's ever gonna get comfortable enough to have it. I'm sure it doesn't help when 44,000 are chanting, "We want Turbo!" every single time you lose a batter, you walk somebody, and that's on him. I mean, he hasn't pitched well enough, and every time the Phillies fight back after he digs the team into a hole, and whether St. Louis had errors or not, the Phillies were able to pounce and tie the baseball game back up. You go down 2-0, it's 2-2. You go down 4-2, it's 4-4. So your team had their back. But man, every time they do, you give it right back. They just tie it up. You give it right back with the piss missile to right field. A no-doubter. Not good enough. And the way Spencer Turnbull pitched on Saturday night after Ranger Suarez with the comebacker again. This guy, I don't know if he's in the middle of a Final Destination movie because he escaped death not too long ago with an outrageous get out of the way, and then the ball goes through the middle. Oh no, here's a great flash of the leather. He gets good defense behind him. Ridiculous. And By the way, Bryson's stop defensively this series was mind-blowing. Over at second, over at short. You plug him anywhere, he's going to succeed, excel. Combine two things. He's that good. He could do both. He excels, he succeeds at the same times. He exceeds. Ridiculous, that glove. But Ranger can't get away from this one. Luckily, it seems like he's in good spirits. All right, doesn't seem like Rob Thompson's hitting any of the panic. But there's no doubt this team's starting to get banged up. Cody Clemens was supposed to play Sunday Night Baseball. He doesn't because he has back spasms. Brandon Marsh, on his original hit, before he went to second and pulled what looked like his hamstring and called for the trainer right away and pointed right at that dugout. Before that, he had that single, and it looked like he did one of those pull-ups before doing a handshake with the first base coach. So I have no update on that. We'll continue to monitor the situation. But it's just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. What did I want to bring up about that Saturday game? Oh, Turnbull. He had 3 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts. Guy was great. He's had some lows lately. But when he had a chance to go a couple of innings after Ranger has to leave the game, which ridiculous that they're able to still get that dub. You're out of whack. You're out of sync. The ballpark was on fire. People are expecting a Ranger gem. Instead, you get the Spencer Turnbull gem. And if Taijuan Walker can't handle that pressure, that one of his teammates are breathing down his neck, then shame on you. But 5 innings, 4 earned runs, a high pitch count. And realistically, I saw a bunch of pitches that St. Louis probably should have been able to do more with. But I'm sick and tired of the doubles in the gap, the ball exploding off the bat. He's getting hit way too hard. There's enough of a sample size now to know that it's not working. Okay with the chance, but once you absorb the information when the player is given said chance, you have to then have a counter move or a counter punch as an organization. And Christopher Sanchez deserves all his time in the world. I guess we have to see where Ranger is and how that goes. But regardless, even if he does miss some time, even though it doesn't seem like it's crazy that he will, although there was some swelling. But seriously, he was joking around with the media afterwards that game. Apparently, he was climbing underneath the tables and whatever. I don't know. So I'm just saying, if you knew you were in way more pain, I doubt you're chucking around laughs with the media members. You're probably pretty bummed out. But I'm just saying, okay, if a starter has to miss time, I understand Taijuan Walker getting another start. And it sucks because he's lined up to pitch in London. I got to wake up and watch these games. Well, one of them's at 1, one of them's at 10 a.m. But it's a big game. It's on a national broadcast. And I got to watch Taijuan Walker. It has to change. I'm sorry, it has to change. It's a shame because this shouldn't be the topic today. The topic should be awesome series win. Friday night was really cool. I call that a solid victory. You were in control. You get some guys to step up early, and Mundo Sosa with the home run. The team's up 3-0. Aaron Nola, 6+ innings, only 2 earned runs. And my favorite part about that game, where they were in control the whole time, in the 7th inning, the score was 3-1 Phillies. Nolan Arenado hits a home run. It's 3-2. Bottom 7, Phillies, as soon as the half inning flips around, Johan Rojas, of all people, gives you that added insurance. Maybe the bullpen would have shut it down anyway because Hoffman was insane. Arguably the best Hoffman I've seen yet. He was throwing high 90. He was grooving. But just knowing that you have a little extra wiggle room to maneuver around, 4-2 instead of 3-2, who knows? I still think the Phillies would have won, but who knows? I thought that was extremely important from the bottom of your lineup. Really good from Nola. And I think because of how good Ranger has been, because of how good Sanchez has been, because, well, wheels is wheels, and because we're so angry with Taijuan Walker, Aaron Nola's just gliding through. And I think he deserves some more recognition for his greatness because he's been an absolute dog for you. And then on Saturday, how about the team really stepping up? Not just the bullpen, but I'm talking also Bryce Harper to deliver a home run. The power off his bat sometimes just makes me sit there in awe. It can't be real. And then you go back and watch the replay when the Phillies tweeted out or when MLB puts out their awesome side angle where there's no broadcast and it's just the pop of the crowd. I thought Saturday, Citizens Bank Park was filled beautifully. Now, it's been filled beautifully for quite some time this season, but a Saturday night game against St. Louis, when you're watching a Sunday night game and they're talking to Bryson Stott in his ear as the action's going on, I don't hate it as much as others. I know there's a bunch of old school people that despise the fact that in the middle of the game they're talking to them, but, you know, I don't hate it as much. Until there's a reason for me to truly hate it, there's no reason for me to hate it. I like hearing him talk to the broadcast about the difference in playing second base and shortstop and the angles and, you know, talking about Alec Boehm and giving him a nickname because the dude looks like a giraffe. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't mind that at all. So the one thing, and I actually asked this on Twitter, I asked Phillies fans, do they like Sunday Night Baseball? And it was actually a pretty close response. Now, I don't, and it's nothing to do with the broadcast. It has nothing to do with anything like that. It's just I like my Sundays. Today, I kicked it on the couch. I went shopping with my wife and my daughter. We took her out. We got some fresh air. We got some coffees. We went to the outlets, the Nike store. We did a couple of things, and we got home around 1:30 or so. And traditionally speaking, I get home around 1:30. Guess what? I'm sitting down on my couch, and I'm going to watch a nice fighting Phillies game. Instead, which I have no issue watching golf, I'm watching some of the, I believe it was in Canada, they had the Canadian golf tournament up there. So here I am watching some golf, and I took a little afternoon snooze or whatever, but I have a rhythm on my Sunday when I'm not working at the radio station. It's what it is. It's why I like football at 1 o'clock on Sundays. It's what football is. 1 o'clock baseball, it's what baseball is. And another part of it is, I could live with Sunday Night Football because I do know the importance of the nation's view. Sunday Night Football, everyone's locked in. You are fully engaged into a Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, AFC North game, a Bengals Ravens AFC North game. There's something about that, and everybody is so obsessed with it. If it's a Sunday Night Baseball game that's an AL, I don't know, Mariners or Orioles, I'm just making up two random teams, I ain't watching it to that level. I'm just being honest with you. I ain't tuning it. So I feel when I watch the game like we did today, the only people paying attention are St. Louis fans and Phillies fans. You don't have that same sex appeal that others do. Now, maybe some casually tune in, but there's NHL playoffs going on as the Edmonton Oilers just took down the Dallas Stars. I'm just saying there's other things to pay attention to, so it doesn't have that same pop level for me. So, over 650 votes at the time of this recording. Do you like when the Phillies are on Sunday Night Baseball? 46% say yes, 54% say no. Closer than I thought. Closer than I thought. But anyway, how about this? Something that I was laughing about. Imagine once you lose the game on Friday night if you're St. Louis facing Aaron Nola, and you have Sonny Gray going in game 2. You should feel good about that, right? At the time of that game, he's got a 2.60 ERA and a 7-2 record. So more times than not, this guy gives you an advantage when he's on the mound. You're winning games and put in a great spot. The guy on the other side is Ranger Suarez with a 9-1 record and a 1.75 ERA. Imagine, after you face Nola Here's Ranger when you got Sonny Gray going and the Phillies pounced early. Right? Boom with a double. Shocker. Nick Castellanos with the double. And Nick, there was a little stretch there where he had 3 doubles in 3 games, and he also had a home run. So 4 extra base hits in a little bit of time. That's good. That's solid. No, he had an uglier at-bat to end the game Sunday night. And I thought Schwarber had some really ugly at-bats where he was taking half cuts, half swings, confused. I don't know if he was guessing. Bryce Harper had a couple of ugly ones as well. And, one of the big reasons why, when we would debate the batting order early in the season, and people said, well, let's put Stott 1, keep Bryce 3, put Schwarber 4. I said, that's too many lefties in a row. Well, I thought part of the problem when St. Louis went to some of their relievers in the end of the game, you would have Harper, you'd have Stott, you'd have Kyle, lefties in a row, and they were able to get out of some innings there late when that was the case. Now, Stott had a nice other way hit, going the other way with it, knocking in some runs. Garrett Stubbs able to get a nice little how do you do out the right center field earlier in the game as well. He also put a ball in play, him and Rojas, to get some base runners. You got lucky because, shortstop over at St. Louis tried to make a play, stepping on the second base bag and throwing the ball over to first for a routine ground ball double play. But, he didn't have the ball in his hands at the time of stepping on second base. And that's what a killer team does. They make you pay for those mistakes. And, it's just what happens. You make mistakes against the Phils, and they definitely swarm you. It's a shame, though, that we couldn't. It's not really a mistake, but by a half inch, when you got Wynn up at the dish and Jose Alvarado in the game, and that thing was a foul ball by half a centimeter, that's not making a mistake, but I'm just saying it sucks that the game of inches, you can't come back to hit the jugular with Bryce at second base. You get him over to third base with the tag. It's like, come on, boys, guys, fellas, we got to have it here, huh? We got to have it here. Maybe you could question utilizing JT Realmuto late in the game for a bat instead of someone else. I'm just saying, there is a right-handed bat on your bench that is definitely lethal. They elect not to do it. But, yeah, I do think it's important to pounce the way they pounced on Sonny Gray. This team is ridiculous, especially when they score first-inning runs. When they're at home, the bank goes absurd. It's definitely a recipe for success. And speaking of success, the Pen only allowed 1 earned run on Saturday night, and Seranthony Dominguez was a part of that. And if you go back and look at some of Seranthony Dominguez's last few outings, maybe not the most appealing in the world, whether there's a hit or a walk, but it's not as much damage as when it was bad. Saturday, 1 inning, no hits, no walks, or strikeout. Wednesday, May 29th, in San Francisco in the 6-1 win. 1 inning, no earned runs, no hits, no walks. Sunday, May 26th, at Colorado in a 5-2 loss. 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 strikeout. He pitched the day before that in a win. 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned runs, 1 strikeout. Now, keep in mind, sometimes you inherit runners, and it doesn't necessarily go to your stat sheet. So, you want guys, when there's traffic, to be able to do well. And I don't remember every single sequence on where certain guys were, this and that, allowing a hit here, there. But, I'm just saying, you have to go back to May 13th before he allowed an earned run, where he had a couple of walks, allowed a hit, went 2/3 of an inning. That was in a win against the New York Mets. That doesn't necessarily tell the full story, but I just want to say it's a little bit better than it has been in some of his previous outings that were really bad, for whatever that's worth. But yeah, that's just kind of where we are at this particular time. You win another series, you do your job. Milwaukee comes to town before you play out in London, and you face the New York Mets. It seems as if Rhys Hoskins is going to actually get back in time, which there was some worry that he had an injury, he wouldn't be back in time. So that's going to be fun to see him back at the ballpark, and I expect a really good ovation for him because, we love Rhys. There's no doubt about it. We love Rhys Hoskins. Okay, with that, that, let's go to the Anytime Hotline. Let's hear from the people. Let's react to the game. Let's do it. Or a couple of games here. It looks like there were a good here from the Sunday night game. So, we'll kind of run it. Here we go.
Oh, man. Oh, that one hurt. That one really hurt. We had the best Jose Alvarado performance probably of all time. Amazing bullpen performance, especially from Kirkering. Really good outing from him. But yet again, the two disappointments of this entire roster, Taijuan Walker and Nick Castellanos, both deserve to not be on this team.
Well, that's
both continue to disappoint. I don't care that Castellanos had 2 hits or whatever. I don't really care. Guy just blows.
No, he doesn't.
And Taijuan Walker, I don't even need to say anything. I think everybody just knows that guy is absolute garbage and should not even be pitching. Really unfortunate about the Brandon Marsh injury as well. Hope he's all right. But, yeah, basically just can't stand the face of Taijuan Walker. And I'm counting down the days until we get rid of him.
I get the Taijuan Walker stuff. I agree. It's ridiculous to watch him pitch at times. If they can't see what's happening here, where his splitter is getting crushed with over a 500 batting average when that's supposed to be your pitch, yeah, what are we doing here, right? Nick has been actually pretty decent as of late. He's been hitting doubles. He's been showing power. I think the two most disappointing people, I thought you were going to say Whit Merrifield and Taijuan Walker, and we've all pretty much stated that we haven't seen Whit Merrifield make one positive play yet. Well, for the first time in extra innings, unfortunately, there was a hit afterwards when Gregory Soto was on the mound, but believe it or not, I actually thought Whit Merrifield made a good play over at second base, getting to a ball, and instead of a run scoring, they stopped the runner over at third base. And if Gregory Soto could have gotten out of it, then I'd say, hey, Whit Merrifield actually did something positive because he's been an absolute stiff. The two most disappointing people on this roster is definitely Whit Merrifield and Taijuan Walker. I don't think Nick Castellanos absolutely blows. He's frustrating. He's super hot, super cold, bad at times. I'm with you. Trust me, I'm not living and dying with Nick Castellanos. But I'm just telling you, as of late, if you're going to rip the bed, which it's very reasonable to rip the bed, he's been scorching doubles for the last few games now. I don't know. I don't understand sometimes I don't care that he got 2 hits. It reminds me of when the one person who calls in all the time about Aaron Nola says, I don't care if he goes 6 innings and allows 2 earned runs. That's not good enough. What's a quality start in Major League Baseball? 2 hits and 4 or 5 at-bats. Even if they're single, it's not lighting the world on fire, but when you look at the most recent run of Nick Castellanos, where he's hitting doubles, where he's hitting home runs, where he's having 3 hits in a game, the Nick Castellanos experience is ice cold, super hot. So when he starts to get lukewarm and it's trending in the right direction, I think you got to acknowledge that that's where we are right now, and it doesn't deserve the outrageous criticism of he's one of the worst players on the team. Oh, no, I just got a notification on my phone, and things are blowing up here because Rob Thompson says Whit Merrifield needs more playing time to get him going. That is such a Rob Thompson statement. That's Rob, though. That's why the players love Rob to death. I actually think, I don't know what the actual amount of at-bats he's had this season, but, he was supposed to be a utility guy. People got hurt, and Mundo Sosa slots in, so he's playing shortstop more. Cody Clemens played well for a bit, so he was able to sneak in the lineup here and there, but I think Whit Merrifield has played reasonable amount of time. I don't think that he's underplayed by any means. So, all right, there you go. For the people out there, God bless. God bless, because it looks like we might get more Whit Merrifield chucked at us. And maybe that's because he understands that Brandon Marsh might miss some time with the hamstring. So this is Rob Thompson knowing the fan base, hearing the tone, knowing that people don't really like Whit Merrifield right now. He's planting the seed, saying, yo, fellas, you better be ready for it. Yeah, well, all these fans out in CBB, you better be ready for it. We're going to get more Whit Merrifield. And he's making it seem because we love Witt, but really it's because we're desperate and have to play Witt because Brandon Marsh is a bit banged up, unless they like Christian Pache, who can get some time too, and they could go that route instead. So, I don't know. But you know how they feel about these veterans. They give veterans every single ounce of wiggle room as humanly possible, and that's what they do. All right, let's go to Amadeo.
Yeah, that definitely is an annoying way to lose the final game of a series, but a series win, nonetheless, that is the most important thing at the end of the day. Your bullpen was very huge for you this series. There's no way else of telling it. The way they had to come in yesterday, pretty unfortunate of Ranger leaving, and thank God he's okay. With Turnbull pitching those 3 huge innings, Kerkering pitching, 2 innings the past 2 days. Hoffman doing his thing, Soto, Serampini yesterday as well. The bullpen was large for you. The extra innings, it's extra innings. I don't know why the bats struggle so much in extra innings. It's very shocking that they struggled that much with the ghost runner. But then it just also comes to, for today's game, the offense did go quiet against the Cardinals bullpen. That can't go forgotten. But Taijuan Walker, it's just, you have a Taijuan Walker problem. That's the bottom line. Just throwing meatballs all over the place, allowing so much hard contact. Every single Taijuan Walker outing, basically, the offense has to score 10 runs. That's not sustainable in every single game for him. And yeah, you're eventually going to lose those outings that he pitches for. So sadly, that happened to be the case. The bullpen kept you involved. Sadly, the offense just wasn't able to do anything. But I'm just going to look at this as the big picture mode. You won a series. That's the most important thing. You bounce back from the West Coast swing, winning a series after that. Now you got Rhys Hoskins and the Brewers coming over, so try to win another series before you go to London and, just keep doing your thing. That's all you have to do.
The Taijuan Walker problem is real. The Taijuan Walker problem's real. And a lot of it is also vibes, believe it or not. It's just every time he takes them out, I got to imagine it's deflating. As much as Bryson Stott is rooting on his teammates when he's on the bum. Yeah, Ty, here we go, Ty. Nice pitch, Ty. Nice strikeout, Ty. Come on, man. This is the same dude that disrespected the guy that everybody loves more than Jesus Christ himself. They love Rob Thompson more than life. And Taijuan Walker has disrespected him publicly, heavily. And, he hasn't really given Rob Thompson his back. Like, you would think that for Rob to handle it the way Rob handled it, not a big deal. I spoke to Taijuan, we're good. And when the Phillies first started their spring training and started to go down to Florida and their Twitter team would post pictures, the first picture they posted was Rob and Taijuan both smiling and cheesing on the mound, and that's not by accident. So here's Rob constantly throwing Taijuan out there. You would think Taijuan would have Rob Thompson's back for the road he took through that very uncomfortable exchange of not playing in the postseason, of ripping the manager publicly, ripping the manager by liking people's tweets saying, yo, where's Taijuan? You gotta have the manager's back for constantly putting you on the bump, and you are getting demolished. I haven't seen so many consistent pitches left over the heart of the plate the way Taijuan Walker is leaving it over the heart of the plate. It truly does look like batting practice. And if it looks like batting practice, when you have another reasonable option, sometimes you don't. Like this idea out in right field, as much as there are some players to play more Pache, Whit Merrifield could play in the outfield, I get annoyed by Nick sometimes. But I truly don't know if there's that many seriously fantastic options behind Nick Castellanos out there. I get the ceiling is super high when he starts to rake, and that's better than Pache or better than Whit Merrifield, who can't do anything right. So I'm just saying, I don't see a no-brainer. There is somewhat of a no-brainer now that you have the info on how bad Taijuan Walker is. Spencer Turnbull was throwing lights out, and the innings pitched was always an issue for me because it's not as if Spencer Turnbull has a track record of throwing a ton of innings, but at some points, if you are going to let him maximize himself or at least try, I think you got to give him that chance to do so. Just like I thought it was okay to give Taijuan Walker a chance, now it's time to give Spencer Turnbull another chance. I'm just a chance giver. I think people deserve opportunities, especially when they earn it. Spencer Turnbull has earned it at this point as much as Taijuan Walker lost it. It was Taijuan Walker's job to lose. He ended up losing it. Now, there has to be a domino effect from that. Someone else gets a chance. Just like when Edmundo Sosa does really well prior to Turner going down. Turner loses time due to an injury. Edmundo Sosa now gets a chance. That's all. I think we're at that time now. All right. We'll take another.
Broads, it was a good series win for the Phillies, but do you remember when Jimmy Butler came out and said, Tobias Harris over me? That's what Spencer Turnbull is doing. Taijuan Walker over me? I mean, you've defended him for a long time,
sure,
and I get why.
Yeah.
Veteran, has pitched well in the past, but I watch him now. I look at him now, and he requires a ton of run support, which the Phillies just cannot give him every night. The Phillies can win a game with a really good outing, scoring only 4 runs. The offense wasn't great tonight, but I just can't understand why they have Spencer Turnbull, who can pitch really well, and they're saving him for the postseason when I can imagine the starting 4 will look like Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, and then Christopher Sanchez. I guess they just want to backpack him in case one of the guys can't go long in the postseason. But I just don't get why you have to keep throwing Taijuan Walker out there. This is 2 games now where he's gone out there and just hasn't done well. Those Phillies could use those 2 games to be 8 games up on the Braves right now. I just don't get it. It'd be interesting if they called somebody up from the minors to take Walker's spot in the rotation. They want to say Turnbull that badly, but I just think we got to find something there because this isn't going to work.
Yeah, I don't feel that confident about it, and absolutely, I like to give especially veterans some opportunities to work out of things, but now it is time to make an adjustment, and I'm okay with on the fly making an adjustment. There's really not that much happening. Mick Abel has become a disaster. Andrew Painter is a bit banged up. There's some prospects making some noise in totality, but not enough. Your answer, Spencer Turnbull. If you're going to do it, your answer, Spencer Turnbull. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't know why at this point, and I do feel, though, in the pit of my stomach, while Nick will play every game no matter what, I do believe if this continues, and they're probably going to give him a longer leash than he deserves, but if this does continue, the way it's going now, the rate it's going now, eventually it will force their hand. Whether it's public pressure because there's "we want Turnbull" chants starting to fly around CBP, whether it's just not winning games when he's taking the ball, which is the complete opposite of what happened last year, regardless of the actual content or context of the game they won when he took the ball. They can't hide behind that anymore if they start to fail a lot when he does start. If this continues of the ball getting smashed as heavily as it is, then I do think eventually they get there. It's just going to take way longer than the fan base wants it to, because at some point it's so bad, you have to do something. You legitimately have to do something. You have to do something. You have to. At least I hope they feel that way at some point. All right, everybody. I thank you guys. I love you guys to death. Appreciate it. We will connect, obviously, over this upcoming week as we got some Phillies baseball prior to London. Rhys Hoskins, the Milwaukee Brewers. It's going to be fun. Thank you guys all so much. I'll catch you on the next one.